So we have currently been going through a series in Light Church on how to know God. And today I want to bring us a bit of an encouragement in how we can know God through prayer. I want to look at the power we have behind our prayers and how it can deepen and strengthen our relationship with God. So firstly, what is prayer? So prayer is actually a really simple concept. It's how we communicate with God. And just like conversations with our friends and family, our prayers can look different. We can pray out loud or in our head. We can pray scripted prayers like the Lord's Prayer, or we can pray whatever we're feeling. We can pray alone or with other people. But today I don't really want to focus on how we pray or what we say. I really want us to focus on who it is that we're praying to. Because we know that when we pray to the God of the universe, who is the creator of everything and has a personal and intimate relationship with us, that is the best thing we can do to influence our prayers. The Christian author Max Lucado said, "Our prayers may be awkward, our attempts may be feeble, but since the power of prayer is in the one who hears it and not in the one who says it, our prayers do make a difference." God gives us the power to our words. And I just want to share 3 things that God has been sharing with me to help us and remind us how we can pray. So the first one is that God is love. So we all know that famous passage in 1 Corinthians 13, and it says, "If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal." Love and the position of our hearts is the most important thing that we need to remind ourselves of when we pray. Again, in this passage, we're being reminded that it's not about our words, it's not about who we are, it's about our heart. And in society, I know that we view love as a feeling or an emotion, but actually I believe that the love that God demonstrated by sending Jesus on the cross to die for us is so much more than a feeling or an emotion. Actually, it goes way beyond that, and there's an element of sacrifice to it as well. And I think it's really important to remember that actually the love that God has demonstrated for us, I cannot even begin to try and explain with mere words, but it's powerful. And my encouragement to you would be to ask God to help you to deepen your understanding of that love so you can use it to equip you when you pray. The second point I want to encourage us with is that God is infinite. In Ephesians 3 verse 3, it says, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." For a believer in prayer, this verse should bring us great excitement and leave us in awe, really. It should teach us not only to fixate on our specific prayers and requests. When we pray for something specific and we want God to answer it in a specific way, although there is time and space for that, actually we need to remember that God is doing so much more with our prayers. I am so blessed to come from a praying family, and I have 2 grandmas, one on my dad's side and one on my mum's side, and I would both describe them as prayer warriors. I know that they've been praying for me since before the moment I was born, and not only myself but other people around them, and I can 100% say that part of the reason I am who I am today is because of their prayers. And not only is it just praying for, the circumstances that are in front of us or the people who are in front of us, it's realizing that God is using those prayers to influence generations and generations to come. And that's really exciting, that we don't have to just focus on what we see in front of us right now, but we realize that God is doing infinitely more with our prayers. And that's just so encouraging to know that, God is in control of our prayers and he has the power to do what he wants to do with them. And the third point I want to encourage us with is that God is our Redeemer. And I'm using an example in the Bible of a man called Jabez. Now, Jabez was given his name by his mum, and it means pain and sorrow. And we know in those days in the Bible that names were a big thing. They were almost a representation of who you were or who you were going to become. So in Jabez's case, he was almost determined to live a life of pain and sorrow. And with this in mind, it kind of makes his prayer, which is in 1 Chronicles 4 verse 10, even more powerful. It says that Jabez cried out to the God of Israel, "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hands be with me and keep me from harm, so that I will be free from pain." And God granted his request. We can see in this verse that God redeemed Jabez from his life of pain, that he redeemed Jabez from the name that he was given. And I know that in our society, we like to know what our names mean, but they don't have the same impact as they did back then. However, we can all think of something that we have inherited, whether it be an experience or words that have spoken over us, that reinforce ideas in our life that we don't want for our lives. And so my encouragement is to look at the example of Jabez and know that he prayed such a simple prayer and that God redeemed him and kind of changed the course of his life. And that same God that Jabez was praying, we have access to. We have the same access to that power. So any sort of experiences that you've had or any sort of words that have been spoken over you, that you can pray to God to redeem you from those. And that actually it has a profound impact, the prayers that you make on your life, for the course of your life. And so I hope that this has encouraged you today. I hope that it's made you more excited about your prayer life, and to just be reminded that it's important to remember that God is love, that he is infinite, and that he is our Redeemer when we pray.